everybody, welcome back to my channel, and if you're new, then welcome. My name is Christina, and on my channel we talk about my own experiences on all things beauty. So if you're looking for the best and most honest how-tos and reviews from a consumer's perspective, make sure to subscribe to my channel, like this video, as well as leave any comments that you have for me down below. This video is a very exciting one because we are doing another wear test first impression on a viral TikTok product. This right here, the L'Oreal Infallible Fresh Wear Powder Foundation. I have two shades right here that we're going to be talking about, and bonus, I also have the Maybelline Sky High Mascara. Now we all know that TikTok is seriously selling out these products that everyone is talking about. They're becoming super viral on TikTok, which makes them so hard to find. My boyfriend was actually kind enough to go to CVS and check for me, and he found all of these products, which I was super surprised about because I went to like 3 different stores beforehand and I was feeling so defeated, but he found them and I was like, thank you, my channel thanks you, my friends and followers thank you. So if you guys are interested in beauty, which is what I'm assuming you are into if you're watching this video, I'm sure you have heard about this product right here and you know basically what it's all about. But let me read some claims for you in case you do not. It's a weightless texture, gives full coverage and a natural matte finish. The formula is breathable, weightless, and comfortable for up to 24 hours. We're not doing that today. It's waterproof, heat-proof, and sweat-proof. It's available in 14 shades, suitable for all skin types. And I read somewhere else, I'm reading from the L'Oreal website, but I'm pretty sure I read somewhere else that it's more geared toward oily skin. I have dehydrated dry skin currently. Actually, it's kind of becoming more combo because I feel throughout the day I'm getting a little oilier in like my cheek areas and stuff. I don't know what's happening. I'm just going with the flow here. I have 220 sand and I also have a 180 linen. Sand does look a little too dark for me, to be honest. And then linen, I feel like this is definitely going to be the one that works, but it looks a little too yellow in my opinion for my skin tone. I veer more towards neutral undertones. It was really difficult to pick a shade online. There's only 14 shades, which I do kind of have an issue with because I feel like L'Oreal is a big enough of a company to come out with lots more shades. I mean, we see that in their liquid foundations. I feel like they have more shades in their liquid foundations, but even then it doesn't seem like a huge variety. I would love to see L'Oreal come out with a larger shade range, especially if these products are as good as people say they are. I'm going to apply all my creams, my concealers, my base products, and then we're going to go ahead and go in with these shades. Let me actually swatch these for you and also for me so I know which one I'm going to go in with. Looks pretty good. I feel like it might be a little too light. We will see. Oh, it does feel very, very buttery. Wow. Okay, that's really nice. And this is the shade right here. Definitely going to be too light, y'all. So that looked even lighter swatch. So I'm thinking maybe sand will be lighter too. Okay, this is sand, 220 sand. Not a ton of fallout either. Yeah, 220 sand, y'all. It might be a little too dark, but honestly, I think it's gonna work better. Maybe I should swatch it on my face. Yeah, let's swatch it on the face. Oh yeah, that's a little dark. And then linen, that's a little light. Oh no, what are we gonna do? Is there a shade between? Dang it, I don't think either one is gonna work. There is not a shade between linen and sand. That's really weird. I will insert the shade range right here. These seem like very, very different shades. I think I'm gonna have to go in with linen and then just bronze it because I can't see sand working for me right now. Honestly, guys, that shade range throwing me off, but we are going to continue. I'm gonna stop talking about that. I have my Rare Beauty face mist because my face is feeling a bit dry. So like I said, I'm gonna be doing all of my base products first. I have the Auric Pyrite right here. I'm going to put this all over my face actually because it does claim to be a matte foundation, so I want to make sure that I have at least a little bit of glow coming through underneath. I love this product so much. I use it pretty much every single day now. It'll just make everyone look dewy and natural. It's beautiful. I have my Oma Beauty Concealer in Honey Honey T2, and I'm going to put this right under the under eyes, and I am going to be mixing this with my e.l.f. Cosmetics one. I'm going to put a lot. All right, so I just did a little bit of concealer on my chin. Ooh, my hair is looking crazy, guys. I'm gonna get some of the redness right here. Let's do a bit of contouring. So I have my Oma Beauty stick right here. You guys already know, I love it. It's the best. I'm gonna do just a slight contour right here because I'm getting nervous because of the shade. I definitely think we're gonna be having to warm it up with some powder bronzer. Okay, there is the face. That is the entire foundation that we're gonna do. So I'm gonna go in with linen. It's definitely going to be too light. I know that for a fact, but it has the little opening here. Oh, there's a mirror. Okay, I was about to say, I wish I had a mirror. It'd be a lot easier to use. So it does have a mirror. Here's the little sponge applicator. I'm gonna go in on this side. Let's do that. It's probably most definitely gonna cover that bronzer. It's fine. So I'm gonna go into the powder. I haven't decided if I'm gonna do my entire face with a sponge yet. Oh my geez, it's so light. I'm gonna be so pale. Okay. Oh my gosh, this shade. Killing me. I've never had a shade match so horribly wrong. We're just gonna keep going. I'm trying really hard to just look at the texture of the skin right now. Obviously, it looks a lot more textured to me because the shade is just so wrong. My chin is looking really textured. I have a lot of dry area right there. I am using tretinoin right now in my Curology formula, so it tends to make my skin very dry, and my chin is a very dry area. But the rest of the face is looking pretty good. It's really building up on my upper lip. First of all, I look super extremely pale, which sucks. But besides that, well, maybe let me try sand. Should I do sand? How do I lighten it though if it's a powder? Okay, before I go any further and decide if I want to take this off and put sand on, I'm going to show you guys a close-up of the skin. It's looking pretty bad. All right, hopefully you guys can see my skin right now. It's looking horribly textured. Under my chin, you can see where it's clinging on my pores. My upper lip, I cannot blend that out with the sponge. Like, it just keeps moving around in clusters. And my nose just looks so bad. And again, a disclaimer, I am using retinol, I'm using tretinoin, so my skin naturally is drying right now, but I don't have any other liquid or powder foundations for that matter that cling this badly. Like, I've been using powder foundations recently, like the Fenty one, and I've been using it to set and also just like on its own, and it doesn't do this. Pretty bad in my opinion. But what we're gonna do with this side, I'm gonna take a brush, and I typically use this when I use powder foundation, the Sephora Pro Core Diffuser number 94. I don't know if they still sell this, but really it's just like a dense brush with a couple of looser bristles on the outside, and I'm gonna use this to see if I can buff it better on this side. There's a lot more fallout when you use a brush, obviously. That seems like a given with powder foundation, right? All right, I'm gonna go ahead and buff this in. All right, right off the bat, that honestly looks better. It's still kind of clinging, but it's not as bad as that sponge at all. Let me see if I can fix what the sponge did. Yeah, it's definitely sitting better on my upper lip. I pretty much covered my whole chin though, so I can't really say. But the brush isn't really making it better. I feel like the powder is just on there. It's like caked on there at this point. Okay. The brush makes a world of a difference. It looks so much better, and honestly, it doesn't look as pale anymore. Like, I feel like because the sponge caked on so much product at one time, it was just extremely like pale on my skin. The brush is kind of fixing it, but it's still like not that great. Yeah, you can even see on my forehead the difference that the brush has made. So if you look here, this line right here is where the sponge was. You can see how much it clings to the skin, like even here where my hairline is. You can see the product is just caked on there. Versus here, it's not as bad. You can't see a very clear demarcation. The pores on this side are extremely emphasized versus this side. Don't use that sponge. Even my under eyes look extremely different. You can see here it's like settled in my under eyes. Can you see that? This is the side that the sponge was used. This is a brush. You can see a lot of little dots right here. So I'm not gonna continue to mess with the nose, the tip of the nose, because I feel like I'm just gonna ruin it even more. But I've blended it to a point where I think it's okay. So there is the face. I was able to figure out the issue. Thank goodness it wasn't just right off the bat the powder. I was really disappointed for a second there, but it looks good. It doesn't look great like how the Fenty Beauty powder foundation, when I tried that out in a video, I was like blown away right away. I'm a little turned off by it right now, but I'm gonna work with it, do my full face and see. Definitely is matte. There's really no dew in sight. So if you have oily or combo skin, this might be a great option for you if you really don't like that. You can still really see my freckles. So I wouldn't say it's full coverage. I'm gonna add a little bit more actually to my cheeks and see if we can get those freckles a little bit more camouflaged here and see if we can reach that full coverage without it looking too crazy. My nose is really bugging me. I'll show you guys. It just does not look great to me and it's really, really in there in my pores. What I think I wanna do now is go in with sand as like a little bit of more coverage on the cheeks as well as sort of a bronzer. I don't know if this is gonna work very well, but I figured we would try. And I have this e.l.f. brush. It's a flawless complexion brush. Apply it here on the cheeks. Okay, so it is adding a bit of color, so you can see there. So what that's telling me is this is probably a good shade for the summer. I do want to see if a little bit of a setting spray or mist will help with how it's looking on the skin. It definitely looks a bit powdery, definitely matte, which is not a bad thing. It's just not really what I want right now. So I'm going to go back in with the Rare Beauty mist. I find that this gives me a bit of a dew, so it's nice to prime and, you know, settle some powder, but I don't necessarily like it to set because then my skin gets too dewy at the end. So I think this will kind of like give it a good in between. Other than the nose, this is looking pretty good, pretty nice. It feels like it's not heavy, but when you touch your skin, you know when you know you're wearing powder foundation, it's that same feeling. But it doesn't feel heavy, and I went in with a good amount of layers with the linen shade and then going in and bronzing with the sand shade. That's a lot of layers. The fact that I'm wearing like 3.5 layers and it doesn't feel extremely heavy, that's not a bad thing. That's pretty impressive. Okay, I'm gonna go in, finish the rest of my makeup before we go in with the mascara. Okay, so I have finished my makeup, all but the mascara. Well, actually, we'll talk about that in a second. But looking at the face right now, honestly, the foundation has settled in nicely. It doesn't look super cakey or anything. The color definitely looks better than what I anticipated, for sure. With the sponge, no. Do not apply this powder foundation with the sponge that comes with it. It's trash, I will say that right now. My nose is still irritating the crap out of me, but I'm not going to touch it. I'm just going to leave it alone. The rest of the face, though, it looks pretty good. I mean, if you have any dry patches, definitely go in with a very light amount or really, really moisturize it. When you look up close, you can see where it's clinging. However, like with the mirror about like a foot away or so, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty standard to me, to be honest. I didn't want to layer on too much, so I just did a little bit more bronzer and a little bit of blush. And the skin is definitely looking matte. So if you're looking for a matte foundation, for sure this one has that finish to it. Let's go on to the mascara and talk about that. Here's the mascara. Honestly, I love the packaging. Maybelline does such an amazing job with their mascara packaging. It's always like each one has its own personality, and I love that about it. I'm really digging the fact that the words are raised on the tube. It just looks so cute, very luxe. So I got the waterproof version. If you guys have watched my lash routine, it's the exact same. I go with waterproof mascaras for sure. For the most part, I've been using the Merit mascara that's not waterproof, and that one's really good. Now I've already curled my lashes and I've applied the Maybelline Full and Soft mascara in the waterproof version because if you guys have seen my lash routine, you know that I treat that mascara as a primer, and I use every single mascara with that full and soft one. So I think it's only fair to wear it the way that I normally would on a day-to-day basis. So that's what I'm doing. Ooh, I forgot my highlight. Hold on, I forgot my highlight. Add some highlight because I'm feeling a little too matte. All right, so going in with the mascara. Dang it, it's a plastic bristle brush. It's a very flexy, very bendy brush right there. I'm not a huge fan of plastic bristles, and I'm not a huge fan of the super blendy ones. It looks like it has the slightest amount of a curve. Like, I'm not even sure if it's actually supposed to be a curve or if my wand is just faulty. I don't know. It smells like a standard Maybelline mascara. You know what I mean? Like like the Lash Sensational mascaras. This is part of that Lash Sensational line. So I'm gonna go in and apply this. Gosh, that's a long brush. It like covers the width of my eye. The wand is definitely a little tricky to get used to because it is really bendy. I'm just used to standard traditional bristle brushes. This one definitely is taking me a second. Oh, it's kind of clumpy. This one's actually really nice to get to the lower lashes because it's very long and precise on the end. Okay, I want to show you guys something. So I applied it differently on either eyes without realizing it really until I was in the middle of doing it. So you know how I mentioned it has a very, very slight curve. So it's kind of curving in this direction, right? On this eye, I used the flat part of that curve right here. And then on this eye, I used the sides right here. So I turned it. If you look at it, the bristles on the sides of that curve are a fair amount longer than the bristles on the actual bed of the curve. And the reason I'm bringing that up is because you can see on my right eye, it's a lot more clumpy. If you like that look and if you like more clumpy lashes, then this definitely gave it to me. It does give me that length. It has really good volume actually. I like how separated my lashes are looking on both sides. I hope you can see the difference. Like these are clumped a little bit more together than this. This is more separated and more defined, but it looks good. And my lashes did not fall, like the curl didn't fall when I was applying it. Let me add a little bit more, just a touch on both sides, mainly to the ends. Oh yeah, that looks really, really good. With the second coat, my lashes look longer and more voluminous. I like it. I think that the lashes look really good. I feel like my lashes are really popping and you can definitely see it from afar. I'm going to go ahead and set my face with my Milani Make It Last. It's about 2:30 in the afternoon right now, and I will check in a couple of hours to let you guys know how the face is looking and also the mascara, how it's sitting. I mean, like I said, I'm not happy with the nose, so for the record, that's already like not the greatest, but the rest of the face looks pretty good. I'm going to keep an eye on my dry patches, so that is my chin and a little above my eyebrow right now. And I hope that this was helpful, you guys, and I will check in a couple of hours. Okay guys, we are back. It is around 5:30, so it's roughly been 3 hours now since I've had this face on, and let's look. Let's check it out. The nose looks exactly the same. It just looks really emphasized, like the texture on there, but the rest of the face looks pretty good. I don't feel like any of my oils, like where I said that I've recently started to get really oily, I don't feel like any of that is like breaking through too much. It actually looks like how I would prefer my foundation to look. So I like it a little bit dewy. So you can see on my forehead that a little bit of oil production has started. It's not breaking anything up, which is really nice. The foundation is sitting really nicely, and honestly, I feel like it started to sink into my chin area better. So now it looks a lot better than how it did when I first applied it. So that's really nice. And everything just looks super smooth. This side especially is just looking so good. This side, it looks good too, but I'm just like really weary of that first application and how questionable it was, let's say. Everything is staying put. The mascara looks amazing. Nothing is creasing. I don't see any of the mascara transferring down here or on my eyelids. I don't typically have that type of problem. If anything, it'll transfer under my eyes. The curl is still there. It looks exactly the same as when I first applied it. I have a little bit of footage of me outside and a couple of photos as well. About an hour after, I went outside and I got some footage for you guys, a little clip of how the foundation was sitting and what it looks like in natural light. And honestly, it was looking really, really good. I think that it looks super natural. The skin does look definitely airbrushed. I wouldn't call this full coverage on its own, to be honest. Like maybe if I had done another layer, but truthfully I was a little afraid of doing another layer and becoming too cakey. So I think maybe if you layer it with your favorite liquid foundation and then put the powder foundation on top, you will most definitely get a super flawless coverage. So 3 hours in, honestly, I think it's looking really good. I have no complaints here. If anything, I think it's sitting even better, except for my nose, which already was an issue from the get-go. So we're kind of just basing it off of that. I will check back in with you guys tonight. Okay guys, this is my last check-in for the night. It is around 10:39 right now, so it's been pretty much a full day of wear. And honestly, this powder foundation is looking pretty good still. I feel like my nose, I'm looking in this little mirror, it pretty much rubbed off entirely, and then I have like dry skin right here. But everywhere else looks pretty good. I do feel like the bronzer looks a little blotchy now that I'm looking at it right now. So maybe not the best idea. It hasn't creased too badly under the eyes. The mascara looks so good. I'm very impressed and I enjoy this. So it's smudged a little bit right here, but it's not bad. Like it could be worse, you know? Nothing has flaked or anything. If anything, there's just a little transfer right here, which like I said, happens, and I'm not too concerned about it because it is the end of the day. I mean, definitely think that they can work on their shade range. It's horrible and it's, I'm sure, very difficult for people to find their shades in this foundation. I definitely recommend using a separate brush. Don't use that sponge. Please save yourself the problems. I haven't blotted or anything, but I feel like I look more matte in this light. But my oils, fine. My dry skin, fine. Everything has sat really nicely. Hey guys, so it's actually the next day now and I'm wearing the foundation again as well as the mascara, and I wanted to give you guys another update because I honestly wasn't quite sure how I felt about the foundation. I already know off the bat that I really do like the mascara. I think it's really great and it's very standard for the Maybelline mascaras in my opinion. It's nothing new or innovative in my opinion, but it's still really good. I checked in last night on my phone just to give you guys a little bit of information on it, how it was sitting, and honestly, yesterday, as far as I could tell, it was pretty good. It had sunk into the skin really nicely, and the only problem area honestly was my nose. So this morning, I decided to wear the same makeup pretty much except for my eyeshadow, and I wanted to test it out again. I'll be honest when I say it did not do as great, and I think I have decided that this foundation applied as the sole foundation on my face, I don't think it's gonna work for me. So let me explain why. Like I've mentioned before, I do tend to have dehydrated or dry skin, so I have patches of dry areas on my skin because I do use retinol. Not everyone does, so I understand that, and a lot of people do have oily or normal skin. What I've kind of gathered is this foundation, if you're gonna wear it as your sole foundation, I think it's definitely better for people who have oily skin to normal skin. I think if you have oily skin, this is gonna lay really nicely if you use a brush to apply it. I think it's gonna look great on your skin. It's gonna keep you matte for a couple of hours. I don't think it's gonna stay matte all throughout the day, just depending on how much you use, but I definitely think it's gonna suit oily skin the best. For dry, patchy skin, I think that if you have dry patches, it's definitely gonna cling there. If you have problem areas such as my nose, for example, it's gonna tend to cling or separate there. Whenever I applied it this morning, I put it on straight away after doing my skincare routine, and honestly, it already looked really, really patchy. It looked very patchy on my upper lip and also on my nose. And I did use a brush on my entire face, so I was a little surprised to see that I was still having issues in those areas. I put it on around 9:30 this morning, and I was wearing a mask on and off up until like 1:30 or 2 o'clock today. So pretty much a good chunk of the day I had a mask on, and it completely rubbed off on my nose. So if you're looking for longevity, it's not going to do that. It definitely transfers. It's like completely rubbed off right here, you can see, and it looks a bit scaly. I have some footage from my phone from earlier. I have footage from when I first applied it, so maybe an hour or so after I had applied it. I wanted to show you guys how it applied right away. So you can see on my upper lip a little bit of the patchiness, and also on my nose you can definitely see how it emphasizes my pores. I also did another check-in video on my phone at around 12:45 this afternoon, and you can definitely see that it was really rubbing off. The temperature today was pretty hot. It was around 80 degrees, maybe even hotter than that. So I definitely was sweating under my mask. So it's not sweat proof in my opinion, and it's not transfer proof. Now, I don't think that I'm gonna completely write this off, because like I said, on the rest of my face, and you can see in the close-ups, on the rest of my face, it's honestly sitting really nicely. It's really just those problem areas. I'm gonna keep it and keep trying it with different combinations. I think I have to use a hydrating primer in my dry patches. And I also think that it might work better as a setting powder. So instead of using this foundation as my sole foundation, I think what I'm going to do is what I typically do with other powder foundations. I use it to set my liquid foundations. So if I'm wearing like a BB cream, a CC cream, or even like just a regular foundation, I'll take a light dusting of powder foundation to kind of set all of that down, and I think that will work the best for this product. I do have the Fenty Beauty powder. I also have the Makeup Forever powder. I also have the CoverGirl powder, and I've been using those in rotation, and none of those give me as much emphasized pores or dry patches as this L'Oreal one. So I figured that was something important to know. I think it's the specific product versus the type of product. So that's everything for this video, guys. It ended up being a lot longer, but I wanted to give you a thorough review. Take this as you will. I hope that this was helpful for you guys, and I hope you were able to learn something. If you did find it helpful and you enjoyed it, please make sure to like, comment, and subscribe for more videos like this one, and I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye!